Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to our Speakers Demo Reel webinar series. For the demo teaching today, the topic will be on student-centered teaching of types of chemical reactions in relation to health and common household activities. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. We will be posting the Zoom link in the comment section before our demo teaching. And the first 5 participants to join the Zoom meeting will be allowed to have close interaction with the speaker during the session and have an open forum after the demo teaching. The first 5 participants will serve as the students for the speaker's demo reel. For those who will be chosen, the speaker may ask you to share your videos or not, but make sure microphones are turned off until asked to turn on.
Do you enjoy learning with Vibal? Make your experience even more exciting by becoming a Vibal Group fan. Exclusive perks await fan subscribers. Get access to exclusive webinars. Enjoy free teaching resources. Check out exclusive content. Get discounts on Vibal products. All of these for only 55 pesos a month. Exciting, right? Subscribe as a fan now. Here's how. Visit, click, follow. First, visit Vibal Group's Facebook page. Then click Become a Supporter to purchase a monthly subscription. Lastly, follow the prompts that appear on your screen. But don't confuse this for top fan. Nuh-uh, it's a different thing. You need to follow the easy steps. Visit, click, follow. Be a Vibal Group fan and enjoy exciting perks today.
Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to our Speakers Demo Reel webinar series. For the discussion today, the topic will be on student-centered teaching of types of chemical reactions in relation to health and common household activities. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnUs1PH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning, Kavibal! And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. Dr. Cinder Dayan Luza Tabiolo is an assistant professor for of Jose Rizal Memorial State University, Dipolog City, Zamboanga del Norte, Philippines. She earned her Bachelor of Secondary Education major in General Science at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan in 2003. In 2013, she finished her Master of Arts in General Science at Jose Rizal Memorial State University, Dapitan City, and completed her Doctor of Education and Management at St. Vincent's College, Dipolog City in 2016. As a prolific researcher in the field of science, she attended numerous instruction-related seminars and conferences. Among her notable accomplishments were a national awardee during the specialization training in legal medicine and forensic chemistry, awarded as a fellow of the Royal Institute of Educators in Singapore during the Royal Institution's 14th International Conference and conferment ceremony, international paper presenter in international conferences and competition on engineering, education, management, science, and technology. In terms of research and accomplishments, she was a paper presenter during the Third World Conference on Psychology Sciences in Bali, Indonesia. She was also an international peer reviewer after completing the training on peer review using Thomson Reuters and Scopus Elsevier standards, and a recipient of numerous certificate of recognition for an outstanding workshop and research presentations. She has presented and published several research studies in local and international level, specifically in science education. A hardworking educator, advisor, and a panel member in various research outputs of undergraduate and graduate students. Furthermore, a team leader of Area 9 Laboratories for AACCUP accreditation, chairman in research presentations, and one of the ISO 9001-2015 internal auditors of Jose Rizal Memorial State University, Dipolog Campus, Dipolog City. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Dr. Cinder Dayan Tabiolo.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's a great honor to be with you again. Thank you, Vibal, for the second time around of sharing my expertise with these prolific professionals that you are watching with us today. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Okay, so before we will start with our um, demo teaching this afternoon, I would like to emphasize that since today is we are really experiencing COVID crisis now, although I am explaining and demonstrating on hands-on teaching science, um, I really prepared that these chemical reactions that I will be showing to you this afternoon are really chemical reactions that we are experiencing in our daily life. So most of the reactions that I will be showing to you are basic and daily activities that we are experiencing. So to start with, let me share screen the topic that we will be discussing? Okay, so the topic that we are going to discuss and demonstrate this afternoon is about hands-on science for types of chemical reactions. Now, what are the learning objectives for today's session? So first, understand the types of chemical reactions. Second, appreciate and apply the importance of chemical reactions in daily living in relation to plantitas, COVID-19, household cleaning products, and health and wellness. Okay, now, can you give me an example of a chemical reaction that you are experiencing in your daily living? How about, hi Judy Ann? Is Miss Judy Ann around? Okay. Wala si Ma'am Judy. How about Ma'am Maria? Frisella? Hello po. Hello, Ma'am Maria? Wala din. How about Ma'am Sandra?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. Can you give me an example of a chemical reaction that you are experiencing in your daily life?
Example po, digestion po.
Wow, very good. That's a good answer, Ma'am Sandra. Thank you for that answer. So digestion is a good answer because we are always, no? We are always eating from the morning to lunch to dinner. May mga snacks pa nga tayo eh. So the moment we start to put the food inside our mouth, so we are experiencing now since the different catalyst or the enzymes from the mouth down to our small intestine, that starts a chemical reaction. Very good. Okay. How about nandito na ba si Ma'am Judy Ann? Ma'am Judy Ann? Ma'am Judy? Hello, Ma'am Judy? Ay, wala din si Ma'am Judy. Okay. Now, I'm sure most of you have different experiences, no, in your daily life where chemical reaction takes place. Okay, so what are those chemical reactions in everyday life that we are talking? So as you can see, you have there combustion, you have rust, you have digestion, photosynthesis, and then when we are going to use the batteries, fermentation, and then washing our hands, and of course, when we are going to cook or bake something. So chemical reactions occur everywhere in the world around you, not just in a chemistry lab. So how we are going to recognize if there is a chemical reaction? No? So the first step in recognizing chemical reactions in the world around you is, of course, to identify when a reaction is taking place. Because chemical reactions causes or can cause chemical change or changes. In other words, substances interact and form new products. But not every change in matter is a chemical reaction. So for example, melting ice, tearing a sheet of paper into strips, and dissolving sugar in water are physical changes. that don't change the chemical identity of matter. Okay. Now, what are the signs of a chemical reaction? So, probably, your answer will be, ano-ano kaya? Pag there is temperature change, check. Color change, odor. There is a bubbling or gas production. And what else? Formation of a solid that is called a precipitate when liquids are mixed. Okay. Another example is combustion, of course, no? You experience combustion reactions when you strike a match, burn a candle, start a campfire, or light a grill. In a combustion reaction, a fuel reacts with oxygen from air to produce water and carbon dioxide. So here is the reaction of the combustion of propane, a fuel used in gas grills and some fireplaces. So we have here C3H8 plus oxygen. The product is water plus carbon dioxide plus energy. Another example is photosynthesis. Of course, photosynthesis is very important in our daily life because plants use a chemical reaction that is called photosynthesis to convert carbon dioxide and water into food, which is known as glucose and oxygen. It's a key reaction because it generates oxygen and yields food for plants and animals. So the overall chemical reaction for photosynthesis is we have carbon dioxide plus water plus light. So that will give us the product of glucose and oxygen. The third example is aerobic cellular respiration. Animals use oxygen provided by plants to perform essentially the reverse reaction of photosynthesis to get energy for cells. Now, aerobic respiration reacts glucose and oxygen to form water and chemical energy in the form of, what do you call that energy? The ATP or adenosine triphosphate. And the overall equation for the cellular respiration is this one, C6H12O6 plus oxygen. The product is carbon dioxide plus water plus energy or the ATP. Okay, so we have also another example, which is the opposite of the first, anaerobic respiration. Now, organisms also have ways to get energy without oxygen. Now, humans use anaerobic respiration during intense or prolonged exercise, no, to get enough energy to muscle cells. Another is yeast and bacteria use anaerobic respiration in the form of fermentation to make everyday products such as wine, we have vinegar, yogurt, bread, cheese, and beer. Now, the equation for anaerobic respiration is C6H12O6, and then the product is C2H5OH plus carbon dioxide plus energy. And then this is very common. The next example, we have rust. No? So rust, verdigris, and tarnish are all examples of common oxidation reactions. So when iron rusts, it changes color and texture. So to form a flake coating called rust. So the reaction also releases heat, but it usually occurs too slowly for this to be noticeable. Now, what is the chemical equation of rusting of iron? So you have here Fe plus O2 plus water. So that will give you ferric oxide and water. Another is electrochemistry. So that includes chemical batteries. Electrochemical reactions are redox, no? Oxidation and reduction reactions that convert chemical energy into electrical energy. So the type of reaction depends on the battery. Spontaneous reactions occur in galvanic cells, while non-spontaneous reactions take place in electrolytic cells. Hi to my student. Hi, Happy J. Okay. Another example of chemical reaction in our daily life is, of course, cooking. We are always cooking our food, right? So by just mixing dry ingredients usually doesn't result in a chemical reaction. But adding a liquid ingredient often results in a reaction. Now, cooking with heat also causes reactions. Mixing flour, sugar, and salt is not a chemical reaction. Neither mixing oil and vinegar. But cooking an egg is a chemical reaction because heat polymerizes proteins in egg white, while the hydrogen and sulfur in the yolk can react to form hydrogen sulfide gas. Another is, when you heat sugar, there is a reaction called caramelization that will occur. When you heat your meat, it browns due to the Maillard reaction. Baked goods rise due to carbon dioxide bubbles formed by the reaction between baking powder or soda and the liquid ingredients. Okay, so ito yung sinasabi ni Ma'am Sandra kanina, no? Digestion is an example of a chemical reaction in our daily activity. Since digestion is a complex process that involves thousands of chemical reactions. So when you put food in your mouth, water and the enzyme amylase breaks down sugar and other carbohydrates into simpler molecules. And the HCl, or the hydrochloric acid, and enzymes break down proteins in your stomach. Sodium bicarbonate released into the small intestine and neutralizes the acid and protects the digestive tract from dissolving itself. Okay. Okay, another one is the soap and detergent reactions. Oh, lalo na ngayon, palagi tayong naghuhugas ng kamay, no, to keep our hands clean, no, para iwas COVID. So, may mga reactions ba? Chemical reactions ba ang soap and detergent sa ating mga kamay? Now, washing your hands with water isn't a chemical reaction because you're just mechanically rinsing away grime. But if you add soap or detergent, chemical reactions occur that emulsify grease and lower surface tension so you can remove oily grime. So even more reactions occur in laundry detergent because it contains enzymes to break apart proteins and whiteners to prevent clothes from looking dingy. Okay. Pero so far, I think yung mga ano natin ngayon, yung mga students natin hindi na naglalaba sa kamay, no? Naglalaba gamit ang kanilang mga kamay. They are used washing their clothes with their washing machines. Kasi may mga automatic na naman na mga washing machines ngayon, right? Paglabas ng clothes, okay na, pwede mo nang isuot. Okay. Another one is acid-base reactions. Acid-base reactions occur anytime. No, you mix an acid, so example, lemon juice, vinegar, muriatic acid, battery acid, carbonic acid from carbonated beverages. So if you're going to mix it with a base, example, baking soda, ammonia, or lye. So a good example of an acid-base reaction is the reaction between baking soda and vinegar to form sodium acetate, water, and carbon dioxide gas. So this is the formula, chemical formula of an acid-base reaction. So you have NaHCO3 plus HC2H3O2. The product will be NaC2H3O2 plus water plus carbon dioxide. Now, we are all talking about the different examples of chemical reactions in our daily activities. But we are going to remember that these different reactions may have physical or chemical change. Remember, when we say physical change, the matter changes form, but not the chemical identity. So examples are the melting of ice, chopping of wood, shredding paper, or you may mix gray and green marble. So no changes of the form, made by changes of form, but not the chemical composition or the chemical identity. While chemical changes, a chemical reaction occurs and a new product are formed. So examples are burning wood, rotting banana, fireworks during the New Year and Christmas Eve, and we have also mixing vinegar and baking soda. So all of these chemical reactions that we are talking, let's try to connect that onto the different types of chemical reactions. Okay. The first type of chemical reaction is direct combination, or it is also known as synthesis reaction. So this involves the union of two forms of matter to produce only one product, which is a more complex substance. Now, since we are using now online classes or modular classes, the hands-on experimentation of our students may not be applicable, but as much as possible, we are going to consider in giving them activities at home that the materials are available, no? The materials are common and the materials will be easy for them to appreciate, okay, this is an example of a direct or synthesis reaction that the teacher is talking. Okay? So, yun ang ating parang focus, that we are going to use available materials for the different student activities. Okay. So, the general formula for the direct combination or synthesis reaction is A plus B, that will give you a product of AB. Okay. So the next video, I will be showing to you a common reaction, no, of a magnesium ribbon and an oxygen. Let's try to look this.
Hello everyone. So this will be our first reaction for the synthesis or direct combination reaction. Now we have here a magnesium ribbon and we have here our heat. So
Hello? Ma'am Jill?
Yes po, ma'am.
Naririnig niyo po ba yung demo ko?
Yes po.
Okay. May sound po yung video, ma'am?
Yes po.
Okay. Thank you po.
in our example, we are going to heat the magnesium ribbon so that we will see or we will know what will be the product, the new product after the combination. So we have magnesium plus our oxygen as heat is added on the reaction, and then we will see what will be the product. So try and observe what will happen to the magnesium ribbon after adding fire on it or adding heat. Okay. So as you can see, there is a white powder as the new product of the reaction. Hello everyone. So this will be our first reaction for the synthesis.
Okay. Okay. Now, after seeing the video, so that is a good example of a direct combination reaction where magnesium is added with the oxygen or the heat. So what will be the product? Okay. Anybody would like to try from our YouTube guest or our from the student that how about, is James around? Hi, James.
Hello po.
Okay. Hi, James. Did you see the video? Is the video clear?
Yes po.
Okay. Can you try the first example? Can you predict the product?
Opo. It's magnesium dioxide po.
Added with oxygen.
Opo. Is
So,
equal to magnesium dioxide.
magnesium oxide. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, James. You're correct. So let's try to look or to solve whether the formula of the chemical reaction given by James is correct. Okay. So we have here magnesium plus oxygen. Okay. So based from our general formula, magnesium is A, oxygen is B, so the product will be AB, right? Okay. Now, so let's try to consider the charges of the different elements that we are using. So magnesium is +2. And then we have our oxide, that's -1. -2, sorry. So what will be our product? That will be -10. Okay. Sorry. My pen is not working. Wait. So we have here magnesium oxide. Okay. Positive 2 for magnesium charge, negative 2 for oxide. So your product will be MgO. Now, let's try to balance the equation. If the equation is balanced, in the reactant side, 1 for magnesium. In the product side, 1. For oxygen, you have here 2. And then 1 for the product side. So we are going to put here 2 and another 2 here. So the equation now is balanced. 2 for magnesium, 2. Oxygen is 2. 1 times 2 equals 2. Correct. Do we have the same answer, James?
Opo.
Thank you. Let's proceed. Okay. Another example of direct combination reaction, which is very noticeable in our houses, is the burning of charcoal, correct? So what are the elements or the ions that were combined to produce a certain product? No? So what will be the product after burning a charcoal? So based from our equation, we have here carbon plus oxygen. Okay. So carbon plus oxygen. So this is our A. And then this is our B. The product will be CO2. Okay. Carbon is positive 2. Oxide is negative 1. But in writing diatomic molecules, an element should have a 2 atom because they are diatomic, meaning they cannot stand alone. So if you're going to look into the product, that's CO2, and the equation is balanced. 1 for carbon and 2 for oxygen. Okay. Okay. So again, I will just review some examples of the direct combination reaction or synthesis reaction examples in everyday life. So we have photosynthesis that was mentioned earlier. We have rust. No? So rusting is an example of a direct combination reaction or synthesis reaction. And we have still also combustion is an example of a synthesis chemical reaction. Now, let's try this. We have 2 examples here, and I would like to call, or anybody would like to volunteer to answer our activity. Is Miss or Mr. Hitish Kumar around? Hi, Hitish Kumar. Are you around? Okay. Is Miss Jillian around? Hello? Okay. I think okay. So we will just answer, okay, the first example. So our first example is you have barium plus chloride. What will be the product? Now remember, barium has a charge of positive 2 and chloride has a charge of negative 1. So what will be the product? So barium is our A and chloride is our B. The product will be barium Cl2 because we are going to use the crisscross method that each element will take. So barium will take the charge of chloride. Chloride will take the charge of barium. So that makes it BaCl2. Let's check if the equation is balanced. Now, in the reactant side, 1 for barium. The product side, 1 for barium, balanced. In the chloride, 1 for chloride in the reactant side. In the product side, it has 2, 1 times 2. So we are going to put here 2 to make the equation now balance. So 1 times 2 equals 2 for chloride, 1 times 2. The equation is balanced. How about the second example? What was our second example? Zinc plus sulfide. Okay. May magvo-volunteer ba from my students? Hello, online students. Baka may gustong mag-volunteer naman dyan. Parang wala. May nagre-raise ba ng hands sa participants? Ay, wala. Okay. So ako na lang. Parang natutulog na yata yung mga students ko. Okay. For the second example, we have zinc plus sulfide. So zinc plus sulfide. What will be the product? So remember again, what are the charges of these different ions? Now zinc is, what do you think is the charge of zinc? Remember students, you cannot write or balance any chemical reaction if you don't know the charges of each element. Now for zinc, we have positive 2. And then for sulfide, we have negative 2. So you can write the chemical reaction or the chemical product is zinc sulfide. Now, zinc is 1 in the reactant side. In the product side, it's also 1. Sulfide is 1. As in the product side is 1. So the equation is balanced. Okay, I think we are done with the first type of chemical reaction. I hope you have already an idea on how to present it in a simpler form to your students. The second type is what we call decomposition reaction. It's the total opposite of the first reaction. So it occurs when one reactant breaks down into 2 or more products. So it can be represented by the general equation. You have AB that will give you a product of A plus B. So you have here silver chloride. So that is a compound, AgCl. So the product will be silver plus chloride. Now, let's try to look whether the equation now is balanced. So in the reactant side, you have here 1 for silver, product side 1. For chloride, you have here 1, but in the product side, it has 2. So you're going to put here, you are going to put here 2. By the way, again, Cl has a subscript of 2 because this is still a diatomic molecule, meaning it cannot stand alone. So, hindi siya pwedeng Cl lang ang ilagay mo dito. Dapat Cl2. Okay? So, we have here 1 times 2 for the silver, 2. So, lalagyan din natin dito sa product side ng 2 para they will be balanced. So again, it's the total opposite of the first reaction, ang decomposition reaction. Another example is your calcium carbonate. So what will be the product of this decomposition reaction if you are going to decompose calcium carbonate? So we have calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Now let's try to look whether the equation is balanced. So you have here calcium 1, 1 for product side and 1 for reactant side. Carbon is 1, carbon is 1. Oxygen here in the product side, in the reactant side is 3. And in the product side, 2 plus 1. That makes the equation balanced. Now, hydrogen peroxide is a widely used disinfectant for minor cuts and scrapes, right? So are you familiar with hydrogen peroxide in your houses? Basically, nilalagay ito sa sa mga medicine cabinets natin sa bahay. Now, did you ever notice that hydrogen peroxide is always kept in the dark brown bottle like this one? Ano kaya reason? Bakit brown bottle or dark bottle ang nilalagyan sa hydrogen peroxide? So the reason is that hydrogen peroxide needs to be protected from light. If it isn't, it will gradually break down to water and oxygen. So this is an example of decomposition reaction. So in this equation, H2O2 will decompose to have hydrogen and oxygen. Now, let's try to look. No? So, dito, for si hydrogen, 2 times 2 equals 4. And in the product side, you have also 4. And then we have oxygen here is 2. Here is 4. So, lacking dito ng 2 para balance si oxygen. Okay. So, that makes it balance of the hydrogen peroxide decomposition reaction. Another example of a decomposition reaction is a carbonic acid ingredient, no? In a soft drinks. No, familiar tayo kasi palagi naman tayong uminom ng Coke, ng Sprite, at ng iba't ibang mga soft drinks. Now, a decomposition reaction takes place when carbonic acid breaks down to produce water, no? And carbon dioxide. So this occurs when you open a can of soft drink and some of the carbon dioxide fizzes out, diba? Lumalabas yung bubbles. The equation for this is you have your H2CO3, so the product will be water and carbon dioxide. Another decomposition reaction occurs when water breaks down to produce hydrogen and oxygen gases. So this happens when an electric current passes through the water. So H2O, what will be the product? What will be the equation? So that will be, so water, if it decomposes, as an electric current passes through the water, that will be H2 or the hydrogen plus the oxygen. Still, diatomic molecule, si oxygen, kaya 0 O2. Okay. Now, let's try to look whether our equation is balanced. So, 2 for hydrogen in the reactant side, 2 for product side, 1 for the oxygen for the reactant side, and 2 in the product side. So, hindi siya balance. So, ano ang ilalagay natin dito para maging balance si oxygen? We will put here 2. So, 2 times 1, 2. 1 times 2, 2. But what happened to the hydrogen atoms here? So, it becomes 4. So, in the product side, it has only 2. So, we will put here 2 to make the equation balance. Okay. Now, we will proceed to the third type of chemical reaction, which is a single replacement or a single displacement reaction. Now, a free element, metal or non-metal, replaces some other element in a compound, forming a new compound and resulting in the release of the element displaced. So the general formula for single replacement reaction is A plus B. So that will give you a product of B plus AC. Now, in this type of reaction, we are going to consider the reactivity series of metals. Now, which metal is more active than the other? So, yung less active, yung madi-displace, and the more active element will replace in the reaction. A good example of a single displacement reaction is this one. So we have here copper chloride. So this is a solution of a copper chloride added with an aluminum. Aluminum foil is the example. So what will be the reaction after adding the aluminum foil to the copper chloride reaction? Solution. So ito ang mangyayari. There will be a melting of the foil, the aluminum foil paper, if you're going to mix it with a copper chloride solution. Now, take a look on the product side. What happened to the aluminum foil melts, diba? Natunaw yung foil as it mixed with the copper chloride. Now, the equation for this chemical reaction is copper chloride plus aluminum. The product will be, the question is, which is more active? Is it aluminum or copper? Of course, if you're going to base it from the reactivity series of metal, mas active si aluminum kaysa ni copper. So it will replace in the product side and copper will be displaced. So ito na yung magiging product natin, copper plus aluminum chloride. So let's try to see whether the equation is balanced. Okay, so copper here, copper, and then the chloride here is 2, and in the product is 3. Why 3? Because aluminum has a charge of positive 3, and the chloride has a charge of negative 1. So aluminum will take the charge of 1, chloride will take the charge of 3. That makes it AlCl3. So kung 3 si chloride dito, sa reactant side is 2, so their common denominator para magiging ano na ang common number nila. So you're going to put, the answer should be 6, no? So you're going to put here 3, and then so 2 times 3, that will be 6. So dito ilagay mo, lagyan mo ng 2 para magiging 6 din si chloride, so that makes it balanced. Now, since si copper dito may 3 na, so dapat lagyan mo din dito sa product side ng 3 para balance na si copper. And then dito, si aluminum, lagyan mo rin ng 2 kasi may 2 ka nang nilagay sa product side sa aluminum chloride. So that makes it the equation balanced. Okay? So another example of a single replacement reaction, which is very common, is the addition of magnesium plus silver nitrate. So the product will be, which is more active now? Is it the silver or the magnesium? James? Saan ang mas active, James? Si silver or si magnesium? Okay. Hello? Parang natutulog na yung mga estudyante ko. Okay, so Magnesium is more active than silver. Therefore, in the product side, magnesium will replace silver. So silver will be displaced and the new product will be magnesium nitrate. Now, let's try to balance. Let's try to see if the equation is balanced. Why 3 here? Because magnesium is positive 3. NO3. This is not 3, I think. It's 2. Okay. Magnesium is positive 2. Nitrate is negative 1. So that's MgNO3, 2. So silver here is 2. 2, correct. Nitrogen here is 2. 1 times 2, correct. Oxygen here is 6. 6 times 2 in the product side. And in the reactant side. And we have also here 3 times 2, that's 6, correct. But the magnesium here is 2, no? So 1 times 2, we are going to add here 2 to make the equation balance. Okay, let's try this. For the zinc plus hydrochloric acid, or the HCl. And then the second equation is chloride plus sodium bromide. Do we have volunteers from the participants? Hello? Hello? Walang magvo-volunteer? Okay, sige. So let's try to solve the first activity, which is, so the first equation is zinc plus hydrochloric acid, or zinc plus HCl. Okay, so what will be the product? So which is more active? Is it the zinc or the hydrogen? So of course, zinc is more active than hydrogen based on the reactivity series of metal. Therefore, zinc will replace hydrogen and hydrogen will be displaced. The new product will be, we have zinc is positive 2, chloride is negative 1, hydrogen is positive 1. So the product will be zinc will take the charge of 1, chloride will take the charge of 2. So you have here zinc, Cl2 plus hydrogen gas, H2. Still diatomic CH2. So that's why meron tayong 2. Now, let's try to look whether our equation is balanced. Now, in the reactant side, you have here 1 for zinc, 1 for zinc, balance. For chloride, you have here 1 for chlorine, and then 2 for chloride in the product side. So we are going to put here 2 para balance sila. So how about hydrogen? In the product side, it has 2. And in the reactant side, it has also 2. So if you're going to check the equation now is balanced. Okay. How about the next example? Ano yung pangalawa? Chlorine plus sodium bromide. Okay. Cl2 plus Na. NABr ba yun? Or Na2Br? Na2Br. That's Na2Br. Okay. Okay. So, now, ang titingnan natin dito is the negative ions, no? Kasi, ang given sa problem is you're going to look whether which is more active, is it chloride or the bromide. Now, bakit Na2Br? Again, sodium is positive 1 and NABr, sorry. Correct. So, Na positive 1, bromine is, okay, sorry. Bromide is negative 1, so that makes it NABr. si chloride dito, may 2, of course. Still, it's a diatomic molecule, so it cannot stand alone. So it has a 2 subscript. So what will be the equation now? So chloride will take the place of bromide since it's more active, and then bromide will be displaced. So ito yung magiging product natin, may magiging NaCl plus, since bromide is a diatomic molecule, still you're going to write it as Br2. Okay? So let's try to check if the equation is balanced. Now, for chloride, in the reactant side, it has 2, but in the product side, it has 1. So we're going to put here 2. And then for sodium, in the reactant side, it has 1, but in the product side, it has 2. So we are going to put here 2. So balance na si sodium. Let's proceed to bromide. So bromide here is 1 times 2, that's 2. 1 times 2, that's 2. That makes the equation balance. Okay? So I'm sure you are having fun of solving the single replacement reaction in your houses. Let's proceed. So we have the last type of the chemical reaction is double replacement or this double displacement reaction. So in here, there are 2 reactants and 2 products, both of which are compounds, react and exchange their metallic or positive and non-metallic negative parts, thus forming 2 new compounds. So the general formula for this is AB plus CD. That will give you a product of AD plus CD. So we have here an example of potassium chromate added with silver nitrate. So the product will be, anong nakikita niyo sa product? So there is a solid orange precipitate. No? So ito yung precipitate sa reaction. So you have here silver chromate and another one, potassium nitrate. Now, let's try to look whether the equation is balanced. Now, in the reactant side, you have here K2. So, 2 for potassium. Here, there is only 1. So, lalagyan natin ng 2. Okay. Now, for the chromate, correct, 1. For silver, 2 here. Isa lang dito, so lalagyan natin ng 2. For nitrogen, you have here 1 times 2, 2, 1 times 2, balance. For oxygen, you have here 6. Dito, 3 times 2, 6. So that makes it balance. Mostly, sa double displacement reaction, there is a solid precipitate. No? Kadalasan, may mga precipitate tayong nakikita sa products ng double displacement reaction. Another example is this one, no? Potassium iodide added with lead nitrate. The product still has a precipitate, which is the lead iodide, which is a yellow precipitate, and potassium nitrate. No? But ito yung may precipitate na product. Ito si lead iodide. Okay. Let's try to check if the equation is balanced. So, si A, ito si A, B, this is our C, and then this is our D. Okay. So, A will be paired with D, no? Magiging, ang product natin magiging AD, no? AD, and CB. Correct? So, Si potassium, ang pair niya is si nitrate, no? Dito. And then si lead, pair na niya si lead will pair with iodide. So let's make it lead iodide. Now, let's try to look if the equation now is balanced. For potassium, you have here 2, 2. And then for iodide, 2. And then for lead, you have 1. And then for nitrogen, you have 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 2, 2. And then for oxygen, 3 times 2, 6. 2 times 3, 6. So the equation is balanced. Okay? Who would like to try this one? Walang mag-volunteer pa rin? Ha. Okay. So I would like to call from my students. Ma'am Arlene? Ma'am Arlene, is Ma'am Arlene around? Hi, Ma'am Arlene. Hello? Okay. Okay. Si Nico. Nico Real. Sir Nick, are you here? Okay. Wala pa rin sila. Okay. Now, I will just answer the first activity, but it's your assignment to answer number 2. Okay? We will see you in our Google Classroom. We are going to send it, no, in our class. So, well, let's try number 1. Okay, what was the equation? Silver nitrate plus sodium chloride. Okay. Okay. So what will be the product if this is our A, B, C, and D? Okay? So the product will be, parang na ano yata yung pagkasulat ko. Dito ko na lang ilagay yung yung product. Okay. So silver will be paired with chloride, no? Si A magpe-pair kay D. And then si C magpe-pair kay B. So silver is +1, chloride is -1, nitrate is -2, sodium is +1. Nitrate, yes, correct. Nitrate is -2. Okay, so that will be silver chloride. So magiging ganito yung product, AgCl. No, silver will take the charge of chloride. Chloride will take the charge of 1. Correct. Plus nitrate will take the charge of 1. Sodium will take the charge of 2. So magiging Na, sodium, Na2, NO3. So ito yung product, no? So this is AD and this is CB. Correct? Now let's try to look whether our equation now is balanced. So si silver dito 1, 1. Chloride here 1, 1. Okay. So si nitrate here is 1, 1. Sodium here is 1, 2. And in here is 1. Okay. So lalagyan natin ng 2 dito to make it balanced. Okay. So that's an example of a chemical reaction, double displacement reaction. So, after trying the 4 types of chemical reactions, I'm sure Most of you are already familiar with those types of chemical reactions, but we're going to consider that in this type of reactions, i-emphasize natin na most of these reactions we are experiencing and we are doing it in a daily basis. Okay. Now, aside from those chemical reactions, I would like to um, insert no in this demo teaching the importance. No, we should appreciate and apply the importance of these chemical reactions in our daily activities. Okay. Okay. So, number one, I'm sure in this COVID crisis that we are experiencing, nagtatanim tayo, nagiging plantito at saka plantitas tayo, right? Okay. Now, some gardeners do not say that they garden, but rather they work the soil. This reveals an understanding that good soil conditions are essential to support productive plant growth. Diba? Kasi may mga ano kasi tayo i-consider pag nagtatanim tayo ng iba't ibang mga plants. Hindi lang basta ka na lang nagtatanim ng iba't ibang plants without considering the chemical reactions, chemical properties of soil, no? Para mas magiging healthy ang plants. Let me show you my own explanation how you are going to take care some of your plants, no, in relation to chemical reactions.
Hello, plantitas, plantitos. I am showing you, or I will be giving you tips on how we are going to apply the chemical properties and chemical reactions of soil, since we are all gardeners in our home. And I'm sure in this pandemic, to ease the boredom of our home, so we plant different types of plants, right? So for me, watering is one of the important consideration, especially if we are going to have or we are going to take care our plants. Now, I'm sure most of you have succulents or cactus in your homes, and then some of you have indoor plants. Now, since we are talking on the chemical properties and physical properties of soil, we are going to consider that as a gardener or plantitos and plantitas. Chemical reaction really affect, no, in making our plants healthy, and because we want them to be alive, right? I've learned a lesson after killing, I think, dozens of succulents before in my own collection. So what keeps into my mind, I wanted these succulents to be healthy, no? To be healthy. So I bought a moisture meter. I ordered this in the Amazon, and it took 2 to 3 months before it arrived here. But I'm so happy I have this. So what's the purpose of using moisture meter in considering chemical reaction in plants? Now, since soil, if you're going to look into, soil is very important, no? Because we are going to consider, especially on how or when are we going to water our plants. Now, for cactus, for succulents, mostly we are going to water them 10 days, no? Every after 10 days. Because overwatering is one of the reasons that plants, succulents, will die. Now, after having this moisture meter, so the question is, when are we going to know that it's time to water our plant? So you just soak the probe in the soil and try to read the meter. So in the moisture meter, there is an indication whether it's wet and the range is dry. If you're going to look into the moisture meter now, you can see that the gauge is on 1. So it's almost dry. So the question is, are we going to water the succulent now? Yes, you can. You can now water your succulent because it's almost dry because of the range of 1. But if you wanted to be sure, you can have it 1 or 2 days more so that the range will be at 0, meaning it's very dry and it's time to water them. Okay, so again, you have to water your succulents every after 10 days. But to make sure if the plant needs water, you can also use your moisture meter to check whether it's time to water them. Now, how about this one? The Birkin. Now, I'm sure most of you love Birkins, right? Now, Birkin is an indoor plant. It's different from a succulent or a cacti or a cactus. Now, what will be the requirement for the watering level of Birkin? Based on my research, Birkins needs 4% of moisture before you can water them. Now let's try to check the soil texture of Birkin if it's necessary to water them now. So before using your moisture meter, you make it sure that it's clean and it's dry. Okay. So you can still put the probe now and then check the meter. Now, based on the moisture meter, the Birkin has a 6 moisture level. So, according to research, you only have to have at least moisture meter of Birkin is 4. So, as of now, you don't have to water the Birkin. So, you will have to wait probably 2 to 3 days before you're going to check again your Birkin if it's below 4 moisture level. So if it's below 4, it's time to water the Birkin. That's all for today. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Okay. Before we're going to proceed with our discussion about the appreciation and application, I would like to clarify the last example that I have presenting kanina. I stand corrected po. Nakaligtaan ko na sorry po ha. Si nitrate is the charge is -1. It's not -2. I stand corrected for that. So the reaction will be NaNO3. So it's not Na2NO3 po. Okay, sorry po. Stand corrected. So let's proceed. So as what I have showing you kanina, you're going to consider also the chemical properties and chemical reactions of the soil, no, in planting different plants in your houses. So you're going to also consider what does soil do for plants. So it's for plant growth and for anchorage, for oxygen, water, temperature modification, nutrients. And also you're going to consider texture, structure, pore space, and we have also organic matter. And again, you are going to consider also the chemical properties of soil, because it's important to know that fertilizers are also salts. So when salts dissolve into the soil solution, they separate into a cation and an ion. So for example, when we dissolve table salt or the NaCl or the sodium chloride in water, it separates into positively charged sodium and negatively charged chloride ions. So when we add sodium nitrate fertilizer to the soil, it dissolves into the soil solution as sodium cations and nitrate anions. So we have also to consider the CAC or the cation exchange capacity. So it's an expression of the soil's ability to hold and exchange cations. So ions are constantly exchanged among the soil solution. So CAC sites on clay and humus particles and plant roots. Another is pH. No, we are going to consider the pH. So pH is a description of the soil's acid-alkaline reaction. So the pH scale ranges from 0 or very acid to very alkaline, which is 14. Okay, this one, the rhizosphere. This is a very thin zone of the soil, no? Just around roots. This is the rhizosphere. So we should also be careful um, in analyzing, no, what happens to the rhizosphere of our plants. Okay, another one is the skin reactions related to hand hygiene. So I know most of you of this, no, lahat tayo naman dito, palagi tayong naghuhugas ng kamay, gumagamit ng alcohol, but we should be very careful, no, because there are skin reactions associated with hand hygiene. We have irritant contact dermatitis and allergic contact dermatitis. So the first and foremost common type includes the mild debilitating, including dryness, irritation, itching, and even cracking and bleeding. So this array of symptoms is referred to as irritant contact dermatitis. The second type of skin reaction, allergic, is contact dermatitis, is rare and represents an allergy to some ingredient in a hand hygiene product. So there are symptoms of allergic contact dermatitis, from mild and localized to severe. So in most serious form of allergic contact dermatitis, this may be associated with respiratory distress and other symptoms of anaphylaxis. So therefore, it is sometimes difficult to differentiate between the two conditions. Okay. Okay. So this is a picture showing the irritant contact dermatitis and allergic contact dermatitis. So hand hygiene products damage the skin by causing denaturation of stratum corneum proteins, no? Changes in intercellular lipids. It's either depletion or reorganization of lipid, and decreased corneocyte cohesion and decreased stratum corneum water binding capacity. Another one, alcohol. No, although alcohols are safer than detergents, they can cause dryness and skin irritation. So the lipid dissolving effect of alcohol is inversely related to their concentration. And ethanol tends to be less irritating than the N-propanol or isopropanol. Numerous reports confirm that alcohol-based formulations are well tolerated and often associated with better acceptability and tolerance than other hand hygiene products. Another thing is, some of us, no, it's a big no-no that we are going to play in our houses, no, especially yung mga anak natin na maliliit, kasi sometimes nag-play, so it's not a good play, no, kung yung soft drink and then added with Mentos, although this is a good chemical reaction, no, it will burst, but para sa mga bata, I think it's a big no-no na gawin natin to sa bahay. Okay? Another is during sa paglilinis ng toilet, minsan kasi hindi natin alam yung mga ginagamit nating paglilinis sa bahay, hindi pala yun maganda para sa health natin, no? Sometimes yung muriatic acid, binubuhos natin agad-agad doon sa floor or sa bowl sa toilets natin, tapos nilalagyan pa natin ng Zonrox. So it's a big no for the health, kasi masosuffocate po tayo, especially if the door is closed. So alanganin yun, wag niyong gagawin yun sa bahay, no? Ito rin may mga kakilala ko, no, na they are using merthiolate, no, as their parang emergency pali yung ginagamit nila pag nasusugatan yung mga anak nila, it's a big no. No? Para it's a negative reaction if you're going to direct the application, no, in the wound. So, wag na natin yung gawin ha, kasi hindi yan maganda. It's a big no. No, there will be a chemical reaction from the marthiolate to the direct wound. And education is always among the most heavily scrutinized areas of our society. No? But hands-on education gives students both freedom and responsibility to learn real experience rather than through simply reading or listening to somebody else. No, because we are always concerned with test scores, national and or global averages, getting students, whatever. No, but in focusing all those things, we seem to gloss over something pretty basic. The best ways to teach young people skills that they actually need on a daily basis is adult life. While most of the education world has turned into a textbook and lecture format, arguably the best teaching method is much different. Hands-on education gives students both the freedom and responsibility to learn through real experience rather than through simply reading or listening to somebody else. Okay, so I grabbed this picture in one of my chemistry class. So nakikita mo yung actual experimentation ng mga estudyante ko. So this is hands-on learning, no? Listening and analyzing processes occur in the left hemisphere of the brain, but visual and spatial processes are handled on the right. So by combining multiple styles of learning, the brain forms stronger overall connections and is able to store more relevant information. So, alam ko yung mga teachers kasi, marami tayong mga strategies na ginagawa para mas matututo talaga yung mga estudyante natin, di ba? Okay, so let me end my demo reel this afternoon with this quote. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Do you have any last reminders to our viewers for today po?
Okay. Alam naman natin na this pandemic is really struggle for all of us, di ba? So, siguro mas i-focus na lang siguro natin ang ating mga activities for our students. Yung mas makaka-relate sila, no? Na magagawa nila yung mga activities nila kahit andun lang sila sa bahay. As much as possible, the materials that we will be using in our activities will be common, no? Para mas mai-enjoy ng ating mga estudyante yung mga activities na binibigay natin sa kanila, either modular or online basis. Yun lang po.
Thank you very much, ma'am. There we have it. In behalf of Ibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this very interactive and insightful demo teaching session. It is an honor to have you with us today, ma'am. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. We would like to thank those who participated in our demo reel teaching. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Viva Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.